Good morning.
Happy
Morning.
2026. We got early birds here, so we'll wait for a couple minutes till after. I see smiling faces and
I hope you feel better, Karen.
Thank you. I do. I'm at the tail end of it, but it's been a rough.
what do you have?
I have a flu or whatever this weird virus is that's going around, and I've had
Yeah.
it like literally Christmas Eve, and it just won't. It won't let go.
Yeah, I had the same thing. My doctor told me it's a viral flu and to do nothing but take Mucinex for a couple weeks and only contact him if it gets into my lungs. Then he's going to give me an antibiotic to avoid pneumonia or bronchitis.
Yeah, I almost
It's-
thought that happened. I almost thought that I got into my lungs, but it didn't. So it could have been worse. And I am again at the tail end. But
I think I'm in the middle and everything's fine during the day. At night, it's hard to sleep
yeah, that's the tough part. I hope you feel better.
and nobody wants to get near me.
That part's not too bad sometimes.
No. So we'll start when Ainsley sees that we have a majority of the people here.
I think we're waiting for about 5 more people. If we don't get that, then we can just go through the agenda and come back
Okay.
to the minutes because we sometimes get some stragglers along the way.
Mhm. Seems to be growing. People are checking in here.
All right, I think we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy 2026. I hope people are fairly well. A number of us are fooling around with this respiratory flu like me, and it's not a very fun distraction, but and we're in a hiatus here as through a few of our members prepare for the next 3 months marathon called legislative session. So and we're going to be very happy to work along with anybody during this time. So here's the agenda for today. Ainsley and I have been busy since New Year's, and so we're going to go through a few things and have a little bit of discussion on a couple. And I think we're going to have a great meeting today to kick off a wonderful 2026. So first item on the agenda is minutes approval of the minutes from last meeting.
Perfect. And so my attendance tracker did not work for this meeting. So if you're at this meeting, please let me know and I can add your name. I'm now recording everybody's name on a piece of paper. So hopefully that shouldn't happen again.
Okay. Has anybody who has had a chance to look over wanted to see any changes or additions or edits? If so, please say so right now. And if nobody is making any additions or changes, I'll ask for approval for the minutes. Do we have approval from somebody?
I vote to approve them.
Second,
First, a second.
second.
Okay, the minutes are approved, so thank you very much. So our next item on the agenda is the announcement of future meeting dates. Ainsley?
Perfect. Karen, I will add your name to those minutes. So everybody should have received an invitation to all of, and Andrea, I got you. Everybody should have received a Google invite to all of the rest of the meetings for the year. I will copy and paste those in the chat. They are February 12th, March 12th, April 9th, May 7th, June 11th, July 9th, August 13th, September 10th, October 8th, November 12th, and December 10th. We are meeting with the work group chairs this month to determine whether or not they want to keep their same time for the rest of the year. And as soon as we meet with them and get confirmation from them, I will send out all of those invitations at once. So if you see a lot of emails from me in your inboxes, are probably just all of the invitations for the year. And I do want to note that for February and March, we will be meeting at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. to accommodate the legislative session. And thank you, Dr. Adams. I'll get you on there as well.
Okay. I think we're going to have our regular monthly meetings, but I think our work groups, they're going to decide what they want to do for their meetings. And last year, for some of you who are new, the work groups often met a few times a month, and sometimes special meetings, because they did their most of the grunt work for the commission. Many of the commissioners are on those work groups, and everybody's welcome to be. We have non-commissioned people on those work groups, and we have commissioners, and we welcome people, especially with particular expertise or interest in the areas. The three areas, of course, are ABE, GED, and special ed is one. Career technology, workforce development is two, and higher education is three. So we have a lot of stuff that's going to happen this year as these recommendations are worked through. So I'm looking forward to the scheduling of those meetings, and of course, Ainsley and I will participate in all those meetings. So, okay. I guess, well, the C you've already taken care of, the time change for 9 o'clock. So you have to get up a little earlier in February and March. Sorry about that. And so, okay. Report update.
So
Ainsley.
the update on the report is there was a little confusion within our office because we submitted that report in June, that they thought that our next report was also due in June. So we're aiming for a January release date. It's still going through the process, but everything on the dates have been clarified. So next time we submit a report, it should be done by the end of December. So it's coming. It's just going through the process.
Yeah, so that means, practically speaking, take the report that was submitted that you have a copy of, quote from it, talk about it, work on it. Don't release it to anybody else at this time. Once we get the governor's office, and we've been talking with people, and it's just going through, and we had a procedural glitch because they thought that the June meetings would be our June reports would be our annual reports, whereas that's all fixed now. And so as soon as that gets approved, then you can release it to anybody, and we'd be happy for you to disseminate it wherever you want. Okay. Report of licensee and certificate of completion letters. Ainsley is going to put up a couple letters here that we just sent out. First one has to do with we sent this to the Department of Labor, and the commission was asked to do various things, and a lot had to do with licensing. And we've made the commission and the CT, Career Tech Group, worked really hard on trying to get more information about licensing, and Department of Labor is helping us here. But we made a formal request on behalf of the commission so that we could lock in our recommendation and act on it right away. So we sent this letter to John Dove, and we had a date. Want to go back to that just for a second, please, to the first one there. And so we're asking that, for information by June 30th. And maybe John Feaster may have any comment or some reflections on this, please, if you want.
Yeah, I will say that I have spoken with Commissioner Dove and his assistant commissioner as well, and they do plan to respond and comply with the request.
Yes, and thank you. Department leaders have been very helpful with this. In fact, I think I got to say they've been out there trying to push for this stuff for a long time, and so this gives them a kind of an imprimatur from us and a more official thing from the governor's office, so to speak, to get this information. We know all the licensing problems that the IIs have when they get released, and we're trying to do something about it. And so I think we're getting a real good team effort here all around, and I appreciate that. And appreciate the Department of Labor's support. And so the next letter, this reflects two things that we had talked about and were part of our recommendations. So this goes to both Jessica Johnson, our Director of Correctional Education and Labor, and to Assistant Secretary Mary Gable on our commission here on behalf of State Department of Education. We're going forward on a certificate of completion. We need this for a number of reasons. One of them has to do with students who will never get a high school diploma, and they get some kind of a documentation, and so and then there are a lot of people in special ed who have issues along these lines. So this was pointed out during a lot of discussions on special education and other things that we have a problem here, and there are certificates of completion given out by public school systems, and so we ought to be able to do this, because some people will just never get any kind of certificate, even though they're trying to complete their work. So these are two letters that went out, and so we're looking forward for a response by March 31st from Jessica and from Mary's, or for agencies. And I think this is another thing that is a good result of our work, pointing out some inadequacies that are not the agency's faults necessarily, but current law, current regulations that need to be rectified. And then everybody that we're writing to, Jessica and Mary, have been very much involved with this and trying to help fix it. So I don't know if Jessica or Mary, if either of you want to say something here.
It's Mary. I'll just say that I'm an assistant state superintendent, but we won't worry about that. Are you talking about, and I know we have spoken about this, and in particular you are talking about those students, special education related. Do you mean that, and that is a certificate of attendance? Is that what you're referencing, or some other thing in the certificate of completion? Can you refresh my memory?
Yeah, who is on the call here on the that worked on that and can clarify that? I mean, is Alyssa Vieira here, or anybody else on the committee wants to speak up to it, or Jessica?
I'll clarify what it is, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. So, Mary, what we're specifically talking about are students who are already on track per their IEP to receive a certificate of completion, which is different than a high school diploma. Most often, these are students who have intellectual disabilities. So when we receive when we receive the old IEP, we see if they were on diploma track or certificate track. We've not been able to offer certificate track, but that shuts out about 26% of the students that we serve who have IEPs. So this is another way to support them in completing their educational process.
Yeah, we've had so we did have a conversation with that, and I think, and I've been to many meetings, is at the meeting, and I've talked with Amanda White and also Molly, who I think that we've spoken to. But if you send that, the certificate of attendance is what we provide in terms of special education. You're referencing certificate of completion. So that's fine. Send it, and I will talk with them and see why that that has been stopped.
It hasn't been stopped. We're actually making really good progress on it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. MSDA has been a wonderful partner. So
Great.
I can provide a written update to the commission.
Oh, great, 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 great. All right, thank you.
Well, good. This, if you can see from the discussion that we're having great cooperation from both agencies to fix the problem that was pointed out in our discussions. And so again, we're getting behind something that's already going and saying, we really think this is a good idea. And then we're just asking for some timetables to help push it along and get it done. And I appreciate Mary and Jessica and their work on it already. And, you know, bringing up questions, because maybe we didn't formulate the question maybe as well as we could in the recommendations, but during the discussions, we can certainly straighten all this out. And sorry for the typo on this. I think your actual letter went out with your proper title on, but if it didn't, we appreciate pointing it
It's
out.
all fine. It's all fine.
Good. Thank you. Okay, are there any questions on these two letters? I'm just an indication that Angie and I have been busy at work. You know, we got to work not the day after New Year's, but you know, we got started, you know, pretty quickly to pull things together. So, and appreciate her work and dedication to all this. So, okay, next item. Where are we on the agenda? So, okay, future activities. We're going to want to just talk here a little bit with each one of our three groups. We last time we talked about the committees to start meeting and picking out and prioritizing the recommendations. They had already prioritized them. That's why they have numbers on them. But the groups now should get together and really start working and maybe change some of their priorities or whatever. And it doesn't mean we just do one, then the next and the next. You can be doing simultaneous things. So, so the stakeholders, the role of stakeholders has been crucial, and you know, in working with us this last year. And so, you know, we want to help. Angie and I want to help you guys to get started. So maybe we should have. Go through the committees here, the higher ed and career tech, and then we'll do the ABGD after that, and see if you have any comments about getting started and what you are thinking of in terms of your meetings. So maybe I'll just pick on higher education, because I just happen to see Andrea's face first here on the screen. So what are your thoughts on how you're going and how you're going to go forward here with this?
Great, thank you, Steve. So I think we're meeting next week with Ainsley to talk about this exact question. And then at the end of the month, on the 29th, our work group will have our first meeting of the year. So I'm sure we'll dig into this a little bit more and talk about some of the priorities. We only have 4 recommendations here, and 2 of them overlap a bit. Recommendation number 2 and 3, they are both about getting access to state financial aid and scholarships for incarcerated learners. So those 2, I mean, we'll see where those go. I know some of the delegates on the call are proposing bills for those 2. I'm not sure where they're at, but I believe those are moving forward. So I'm looking forward to hearing an update there. Delegate Embry raised her hand, so please.
Just very briefly, I think those two are mine, and I've requested both of them be drafted, and I should get them any moment, and I will share them with you and the work group and everybody who's interested.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And, you know, whatever.
Delegate Pastor, they're all in, and I'm just waiting for one thing from Labor. But other than that, they're in. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great update. Yeah, we're looking forward to supporting those. Let us know how we can help. I'm sure myself, Dr. Adams, I don't want to speak for anybody, but if there's need for us to come and testify or draft, you know, testimony, let us know. I've done that in the past. I'm happy to do that. So that's exciting. So those are our priorities. And then the last one, well, number 4, recommendation 4, we have 4 in total. I think I announced last time, or you might have seen this, that USM received a $4 million grant from Ascendium Education to do exactly what number 4 says. to kind of create a statewide effort. So there's 2 positions through that grant, and then I think there's some funding in there for colleges currently operating or wanting to start up to seek funding from USM to expand their work. So that's a really exciting development that we'll see how that pans out in 2026. And it's a 4-year grant.
Terrific. I just want to point out to the commission how this this works here. We cannot propose legislation per se as a commission. We can recommend it, not propose it. And Delegates Embry, Delegates Pasteur, excuse me, and Delegate Simpson have gone forward to pick up on recommendations they think are important and create legislation. And now we can back that, and we can help, and we can support, testify, whatever we want as a commission and as individuals. So as we go forward here, some of us will be called to testify, and maybe the commission will be called in to testify. That's wonderful. And so, and then in turn, what's happened also is we have Judith Lichtenberg here, of course. She's part of MAJOR, the Maryland Alliance for Justice Reform, one of the biggest group in the state that does all kinds of really wonderful work on all areas of criminal justice. They have picked up on this and put our recommendations for legislation in their booklet, which is going to be distributed at the beginning of the session. And a bunch of us will be going around as individuals, not as commission members, but as individuals, help telling delegates and senators what's going on. And I will point out the legislative stuff in my work as I go around, and others will too. So we have a bigger effort going on than just our discussions. And it just shows how the power of us getting together and the legislators picking up on it, and advocacy groups picking up on that. And so it's a wonderful, positive movement going forward that we're all part of now. So I just want to commend Andrea and her great work. I want to commend the delegates for the constant participation here and support, and the whole commission for all its work. So, okay, thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Elizabeth, for your work, and Cheryl, and Delegate Simpson. I'm not sure if she's on, but if she's on, thank you. So then next, let's go to Career Tech. And is Diana here today?
Diana is not here today.
So is anybody else on the Career Tech group want to talk about the recommendations? I already alluded to the licensing issue. Does anyone else want to pick up on that? Feel free if you just have some comments on some of the things, but again, this committee is going to meet regularly. And do they have dates set up already, Ainsley?
We're talking to Diana about that, I think next week.
Okay, so we'll get a notice out to the whole commission about those meetings, and anybody can join them even if they're not on the committee. And they're going to go look at the priorities, which include transitional programming and partnership for MLDSCS partnership to align program with labor market outcomes, and the certified peer recovery specialist is a big deal here. So maybe I'm going to pick on Ann. She just shook her head. So as a member of that committee, you want to just explain that a little, because I think this is really a terrifically important piece, and also becoming legislation, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk through a couple of these, I think, and one of them that I actually helped to kind of pull together some information on. The CPRS program, the Peer Recovery Specialist program, has been going on for, I mean, not quite 10 years. I actually took my peer recovery specialist behind the walls when in 2020, right before COVID. And it had been at ECI previous even to that. So this is a long-standing program, but it isn't on very stable funding. The one thing I'll say about peer recovery specialists is very in demand in the community. It is a very background-friendly job. In fact, in some cases, the peer recovery specialist is background required job because they want you to have lived experience. So in terms of aligning with our priorities of getting people trained and out into the community working, this is an excellent track for people to take while they're behind the wall so that they can come directly out into employment. And it has been successfully working that way since the ECI program. Many of us, not just me, are out in the field working. We're in supervisory positions. Some of us are in director positions now. So there is also advancement. So the idea of moving this off this unstable year-to-year grant funding into a line item is critical to really make that solid, to make that solid commitment to training us for work that we can reasonably acquire a job and acquire advancement. So that's really why that is so incredibly important. The unstable funding environment is very serious right now. The other one here, and I think people kind of have a good understanding of the licensure. It's very patchwork. It's very much there. People are saying it's individualized and we don't really know what that means. So this is the response that I get from boards is, oh, it's individualized and we don't really know what that means. So that's what that is for, is to have a greater understanding. And I think we've already mentioned the Department of Labor is on board with this. So that's great. That the next one I think is further down the this is the one that I had also done a little bit of the research on, the pilot program to create the work-based learning for pre-apprenticeship or occupational program, I think was how I had said it, rather than pre-apprenticeship, because that has a different definition, but occupational program graduates. And that again is better using our resources. It's taking somebody who is taking an occupational program, and rather than letting them not break away from that and go out and work at McDonald's on work release, it's placing them in a job that's relevant to their occupational training behind the walls. So right now, we're not currently doing that. We're not doing a good job of navigating people through in a direct line to community employment. And this would just give the funding, because it's important to have a person whose job it is, and the requirement that we really try to take that occupational program that we've invested in and develop a clear line to community placement. And then the last one, the licensing authority is not to restrict the licensing based on criminal history. This is something that's been up for a few years now, where we've been trying, this is something, I believe it was Out for Justice that was working on this, but I might be wrong, in the past, that trying to make a relevance between criminal history and licensure. So you can only block my license in something if my criminal history is relevant to that job, which goes back to that individualized, that very kind of random individualized. With the licensing, we do an individualized decision, and that's really opaque, and we want transparency. So a lot of that other stuff is really about transparency. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. And so again, you can see how we've really reached with the Career Tech Committee into some terrific work here. And I don't know, Delegate Pastor, you've been involved with the career with the Certified Peer Recovery Specialist, I think, haven't you? Did you want to make a comment or two about that?
I have, and I will continue, and certainly one of the bills is around it. But I really would choose not to make any comments today about anything. I am really not feeling well. So, but I have, and some other time, let's talk about that. But it's going well. I met with Secretary Scruggs, and we talked about her program, her committee, that deals with this, so that we can link beyond a wall with inside. But you know the bill as well as I do. Please feel free to speak on it. Thank you.
Well, I don't have the in front of me here.
But you know it. You've heard me talk about it. I mean, even when you were away, I had no mercy on you.
Yeah, I've been privileged to be able to work with you and the other delegates. We've had some meetings, and really want to make this a job, and make it a training program and a job. upon
Well,
release.
that is it. I mean, it's to put it, it's gonna take more than a session if at because it's about making a line item for the budget so that they're not scrambling. It doesn't take away the grant ability, but it is to add in something on which they can count. And I have another bill that was brought by a constituent group that is sort of attached to this one. It's similar to it. And it certainly goes to, as I said, a committee that Secretary Scruggs has. So, yeah, it's to give it the place where it belongs, and it belongs as at a place where it is stable. We know we have it, and grants and whatever else come to it are truly the pluses. So that's where it is. That's why this won't be an easy lift, because it is about a line item.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the trick here. And I know you're going to do your best, and I know you're going forward talking, as you said, with Secretary Scruggs already. And I commend you, and I can feel your voice. You're about 3 or 4 days behind me in terms of recovery, it sounds. So take care of yourself. Get a bunch of Mucinex. Take care, if you haven't done it
No,
already.
I've 9 weeks behind you. I've had this is not pretty, but it'll all work out. It'll all work out. But I do want to thank particularly on it. I want to thank labor for just the intensive support and meetings with me to get this done, and also with corrections to looking over what I have. It really has been a team effort. I just need one more little thing from labor, but the third and I can talk about that one little piece because it's just like a word or two. But I just really appreciate the work that they put into this.
Good. Well, thank you. And again, get well. We need you for all your strength for the next 3 months and the session and all that. So be good to yourself for a few days so you can get back on track here. So, okay, great. I think this just shows you again the great work. The career tech group, just like the higher ed group, the stuff that's resulted after 1 year of our work. I mean, I'm just proud of everything that everybody's done here. So, let's turn to the ABGED group, and Ainsley and I and Director Cox, Danielle Cox, have been working as primarily kind of triumvirate, let's say, three-headed chair on this. So, Ainsley, can you?
Yes, I do believe that Delegate Simpson has her hand up first.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
I don't know if it was already mentioned or not, kind of the reorganization of the House. The adding was it mentioned that we do have a new committee, Government, Labor, and Elections, which means, Charlotte Crutchfield, Delegate Charlotte Crutchfield, she is going to be on the correction. So that's, regarding government. So there are some other committees that I think, as far as what we're looking at, or if we need other representatives, that it may go to different committees, just to give you that you're probably going to want to meet, get a meeting with the speaker and ask how this kind of shakeup would affect our commission. I think is a fair question.
So you mean in terms of the legislation we proposed, where they go and who's going to be?
Yeah, our legislation, but it's not just legislation, the decisions, the money, the financing, all of these types of things. The women's release, trying to get this women's pre-release institution is going to affect, as far as education and where people go, licensing, all of that, all of those things are going to be involved, and with adding, I think we're calling it Lego, but it's labor. And so that's going to include, that portion. It's just going to change. We still have judiciary, myself and Delegate Embry are still on there, but Cheryl, she's moved on to bigger and better things.
Well, maybe we should have a little talk about that separately with the delegates. Maybe Ainsley and I and any delegates available to, how we should do this and to get some guidance from you all, because that's important. We put the bill in the wrong place. We need to figure out exactly, and sometimes the bill will be relevant to a couple different committees.
I just don't want the group to be surprised when the bill comes up and maybe has to be, cross-presented in different groups. It's possible.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's going to end up having to go before our new committee.
Okay. Can Ainsley and I try to have a quick meeting with you the next day or two, and maybe Elizabeth or Cheryl, if she's feeling well enough, just to give us a little guidance so we can come back to the commission on that? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll send a little note to you all to try to pick out a time to talk about this. This is really crucial. I mean, the logistics of presenting bills, we're not presenting them, but we're going to follow them and try to support them.
Right, advocate for them. Just you want to send the note to the right people.
Right.
So I just want to say, take a look at the website. It has changed. They are putting people in the spots where they're supposed to go. And our bills will be listed under where they're, just don't be surprised. There is a new committee. And so we have to be careful about making assumptions of where we think it's going, every one of these bills are going to go. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, that's very crucial what you just brought up, and I appreciate that tremendously. And so we're going to follow up on it and get with you and Elizabeth and Cheryl for guidance from you all. You're crucial to getting the work of the committee actually happening, so thank you. Okay, so we have the adult basic education, general GED, special ed recommendations, and Danielle is going to in my mind, is going to play a really big role helping us with some of these things. But let me just get it started here. You can see the recommendation 1. Labor is already working on a dashboard, and Ainsley has really put some stuff together that we might want to share, not right now, but in terms of some dashboard issues. So that's important. But it's to be noted that there is a dashboard that's being created, and so we're trying to just encourage labor and work with them. And we'll come back to that if Jessica wants to make a comment on that in a minute. But we're trying to look at the data collection and assess current capabilities of correctional education data analysis. That's all part of this. It goes hand in hand with the dashboard. Let's just go through the items real quick, and we'll come back to one. What's the third item on the list is to assess models of alternative school board system models. And so I want to talk that, have Danielle talk about that in a second. The fourth item, we've certificate of completion for adults and disabilities. We already talked about that a little bit. And then there's a mapping project that Anne has talked about, fiscal mapping project. And scroll a little farther, please. Do we have them all? Is that it? Okay, that's it. So let me just go to this number 3 first, because I want to ask Danielle. She's been helping us in the past. We have talked in the last year with specific state directors, different states, on their models, their strengths and weaknesses. And the commission, the title of our commission is to improve the model, the delivery. And so Danielle, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you volunteered as your role now. I think you're actually head of the state directors, correctional education state directors group within the Correctional Education Association, and would be able to help us set up interviews and set up how we're going to approach people to get information about their systems. Can you speak to that, please?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Steve? You wanted me to speak to what?
On the recommendation number 3, where the commission has made a recommendation to this year to assess models of alternative school boards and systems that are being, for delivery. And you and I had talked before, and Ainsley and you and I have talked before about talking with directors around the country about what they're doing, what their models are, what they feel their strengths and weaknesses are. We began a little bit of that in the last year. So you had said as your new role, I think you're in charge of the state directors group now, and that you would help us facilitate these meetings for the commission. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, so I was just elected as the incoming president-elect of the Correctional Education Association's National Council for Education Directors. So in that role, I have access to all 50 directors across the nation. So I had stated that, as needed, if the commission would like to get on maybe one of our calls or meetings, a few select people to speak to some of the directors about their, systems, how they do their different models of their correctional systems. Several of them do have it under their Department of Education. Most of them are under their Department of Corrections. We are the only state that does Department of Labor. Others have it under where they take and go out to community colleges for contractual staff. So it's different in every single state, the way that it's set up. So it would be interesting, I think, for a few of us to be able to talk to them and just ask, about their systems and then take that back to the commission, or if this does become a bill or whatever it might be, to, let them know what all the states are doing. That way people can make a decision based off of, some of that. And then what Maryland's needs are, just because one state's doing it one way doesn't mean that'll be the way that would be best for us. So just look at all of them to see what would be the best way to do it. So I'm available to make that happen then as needed.
Okay, so you and Ainsley, you and I are going to talk as soon as we can about, Ainsley and I have a concept that I want to bring to you and to go forward with that. Then we're also going to be doing separate just research into what's available out there. Again, Lois Davis and Rand Corporation was very happy to help us. I've had conversations with her over the last month or two, and so we'll go forward there. I know Delegate Pastor has been very interested in this, and I'm going to ask her to participate in this as we do this work. So and anybody else who's interested. So Danielle, I appreciate your position. It's a sign of your leadership within the correctional education community. It's kind of an honor to have you chosen to be the director, national director, whatever your title would be. And so I commend you on that. As you know, you've done a lot of great stuff over time with CEA and all that, so I appreciate it. So this is a good example here of one item we're going to go forward with. So, but the I don't know. We want to maybe go back to number 1. We have to have a meeting of our group and prioritize, make sure our priority is good. And so we'll be talking with Jessica very much on and to John on the dashboard and the data analysis and for the recommendations number 1 and 2. I think all of these things can happen simultaneously in my mind, but we have to see if the group wants to prioritize or work on all these together. And then let's look at number 3 and 4, if you could just scroll down. And 5, and I'm sorry, 4 and 5, not 3 and 4. And so the certificate of completion we've already talked about. It's come under this committee as well. So and then the fiscal mapping. And again, and she reminds me of, there used to be a thing on the radio called Chicken Man. He's everywhere. I think Ann is just has gotten involved with lots of things. So Ann, will you take just a minute to recommend, or explain what you're doing here and how important it is?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So a fiscal mapping project is taking stock of what funding is currently coming in, where that funding is coming from, how stable that funding is, and then looking across an entire group. And in this case, why is that so important? It's because it's a group in different silos, and looking for ways that we can bring in more funding to Maryland. So we have right now correctional education, which is spread between MSDE, Department of Labor, and DPSES. And there are different funding opportunities that may be available for those different groups. There are places where things may be being duplicated, and there are places where things may be falling through the cracks. And there are also places where there may be unstable funding that's propping something up in one of those silos, and we're not aware of it in the other silos, and it may be critical infrastructure. And right now, we don't know. We kind of find it out in conversations that we're having randomly. Doing a fiscal mapping project is going to get all of that out on paper so we can see what we're actually working with. It's going to get all the stakeholders in the room so that we can strategically plan together how we're going to allocate the funding so that the work gets done and everyone's priorities get met. And it's going to allow us to look for grant funding and outside funding and request it through the right department. So if DPSES knows we need something, but there's a grant over there that's available only to Department of Labor, maybe that's something Department of Labor can seek and do. So it really allows us to strategically plan to do better. We have a large budget deficit, so this is more critical than ever to know what we've got, how we're using it, and how we can do more with less.
Well, I think this is terrific, and we really need your help on getting this thing started. I mean, it's one thing to know what funds are out there. It's another thing what are potential funds. And who's eligible for them. So, I mean, I just think, one good example is how we have this great Ascendium grant. You want to know a lot about that. And Ascendium has gotten involved in many, many states and has really become a critical and helpful partner for higher education. So I'd be very interesting that we look at that and how that's going to help and other grants that are possible. So, and we'll be talking with you about how to do this. So I think all the things in our committee here, unless Danielle or Ainsley feels differently, I think all our things in our committee are ongoing. And we're not going to leave one lay on the side. We're going to be working on all of them. Ainsley or Danielle, do you have any further remarks about the committee's work? Okay. Good. So back to our agenda. Okay. So we'll be scheduling, if we haven't done so already, we're going to be scheduling meetings of the committees. And we will have, of course, our next meeting, which is on February. What's the date again for February? The first one?
Good question. February 12th at 9 a.m.
So why is it the 12th instead of the 1st?
We meet on the second Thursday of each month.
Second Thursday. Okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was the first Thursday. This cold has got the frozen part of my brain with the Mucinex I'm taking. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow. Okay. So let's have just a moment here for a lot of people on this are with us today. Commissioners and non-commissioners want to raise their hand and make some comments before we go to adjournment. Who's got quite a few people here today. And even if it's just to say hello, Happy New Year. I was hoping we would have Stefan Laboulia with us today. I don't think he was able to make it. He was going to speak to us in the future. Stefan was head of reentry services for Montgomery County for a number of years. He came from the Massachusetts Department of Corrections ages ago, and then he went to he worked for the state legislators group as a director of their funding for a number of years for criminal justice. And then he was head of National Institute of Corrections, which is the federal training program for all corrections across the states. So he comes with us, and he's a Maryland resident, and he wants to get involved and be involved with our commission. And he's worked with Ascendium. So I may, Karen, you may want to be talking with him, but he's going to try to join us. I'll try to get him involved with various committees. So I'm pulling in people that they have great expertise that can help us. We also may want to consider as a commission, we have some blank spaces. We have never had a senator. Because when we did, Jill Carter would have been one, but she decided to drop out of running for office. So I want to, if people have suggestions about, we have empty spots on the commission, we can put names forward to the governor's office. And so if you think somebody should really ought to be a member of this commission, we can talk about it and put it forward. So that's it for today. Before my voice starts going like from this dumb cold. And so I don't know. Let me just ask if there's anything from labor. Yes, everybody knows Jessica has taken over. Jessica, did you want to say a few things? Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. I don't have a lot to add to this meeting, but I have participated with PEDR for much of the year. I got to meet a lot of you on our walks, so I'm excited to work with you as acting director.
Well, I am too, and Ainsley and I'll be making some phone calls to you to talk to you about various things, seeking your help with John's permission, of course. Your boss, who's also been terrifically helpful, but talk with John as well, and so really appreciate the work you guys are doing, and looking forward to a really good, positive, and fruitful, 2026. So I know Danielle was on her thing. If she wants to say anything as director for Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Danielle looks extremely busy there, and I know it must be a new year and you get catching up on things. So Danielle, I feel if you wanted to say anything as director of higher education for Department of Corrections.
Sure. Just happy to continue along with the commission and look forward to the coming year. Just as a kind of a happy highlight thing, we were approved by the Board of Public Works yesterday for our origin contract for post-secondary schools to get the LMS in all of the colleges. And we are also in the process of already doing a modification to that contract to add 325 smart Chromebooks, laptops for every single student, so that they can also have those and take them back and forth from the housing units to school.
I think one of the things Angie and I talked about is having you and Jessica have a meeting open separate from the commission meeting to talk about how you're using your tablets and Chromebooks and whatever else with the students, and any of the possibilities. I mean, virtual, classrooms in RCI that hasn't worked out yet, but we really want to catch up with how the technology is being used. So we're going to be asking you guys to meet with us and anybody to kind of do that. So we'll talk to you some more about that as well. And thank you. That's good news, Danielle. That's a good Happy New Year thing. And in the time of scant funds and even in not such good prospects, that's wonderful. So thank you. Anybody else? Any hands up?
Stephen, just to clear up what you just said, that is actually a celebration for us in CE, is that it does work at RCI. We are having virtual instruction. We've tested it with every teacher.
Okay, well, I had heard that it wasn't, and because some staff person, so to hear that it is.
It is.
Wonderful.
It is.
So
yep, our academic coordinator is there right now. But yep, it's working out really well.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear and maybe even go out and see it. I mean, I'd be very happy to get out there and see how it's going. RCI was also one of my favorite facilities because we've always had such good programming out there. My other one was MCIJ, so that's another thing that we want to get an update on, and maybe talk to both of you, Danielle and Jessica, about what's going to happen, because I have personally gotten emails and telephone calls from staff who I've known for years, and I've shared that a little bit already, that they're concerns, and so I'd like to be able to see, because all those staff would like to continue working, and where they're going to go, what's going to happen. It creates less teaching space for us by taking an institution offline. So how do we make up for that? And so those are kind of questions. Okay. So, all right. Thank you, everybody.
I do believe we have a new member of the higher education group. I just wanted to put that out there. Dr. Timothy Stock. I know he had his hand up. If he wants to introduce himself.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, yeah, I had my hand up just to introduce myself. I know a couple folks here already. Happy to be working with you all. My name is Dr. Tim Stock. I'm a philosophy professor at Salisbury University, and I've been a volunteer educator at ECI since 2012, and currently run their Ethics Bowl program through the libraries in collaboration with Labor. So happy to be here, happy to give my expertise in terms of what could be useful, especially for facilities like ECI that definitely are facing a lot of critical challenges in terms of funding staff. And so maintaining higher education programs in those facilities is an extra challenge. Anyway, happy to be working with you all.
We heard good things about you from the librarian at ECI when we visited.
Oh, yes. Yes. Boy, Benjamin talked about you.
Yay,
And,
philosophy.
Well, I'll put it out there for people to remember that it is, I mean, licensure, getting jobs, all this stuff is crucially important, but humanistic education is important too, because there's a process of humanization that needs to happen in a lot of cases as people prepare for reentry. So,
well, thank you and welcome. And it is an excellent program for everybody to know about. I'd like to even know more. But as Judith said, we heard more about you, and so welcome and thank you for so.
Glad to be here.
Adam, I see you're on. Adam, I know you're glad you're filling in for MCE. So, and we welcome you to be on all the time. And so I know you're now working with the Ombuds office, and so we're hoping that we can the Ombuds person, just for everybody's knowledge, is a tremendous piece of legislation that passed a few years ago, and the Ombudsman can go anywhere. In this case, she wants to go at any time and takes seriously all kinds of issues and complaints and things. And they have been very interested in the work of the commission because one of their directives is to look at education. And so we've had wonderful, and we include them on all announcements of meetings and everything. So Adam, I don't know if you wanted to say a moment just about the Ombuds office.
Well, yes, just first of all, this is Stephanie Biggis. She's our data and technology manager, and she's also a IT teacher. So she wanted to sit in on the educational aspects as she is a teacher.
Yeah, and I teach at Community College, Baltimore County, actually, and I've been going over your data for education, also the classes that I take, and just looking at the data, how many classes there are and things like that. So very interesting, great work, everyone.
And yes, and just a quick update, we are in the process of hiring our second formerly incarcerated individual as one of our assistant ombudsmen. We know the value of bringing somebody in that has that lived experience, and we've found that they are exceptional in this line of work.
Can you say who that is at this point?
No.
Figured.
Well, we'll find out. And any and all your staff are welcome to participate. And our meetings are totally public, and we don't put a block on anybody, unless we have a special session. We just want to focus, but we haven't really done much of that because we're doing work groups. And so I appreciate you coming to all the visits that we had, and there'll be some more visits, and we will announce them, and you're welcome to join us. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Yvonne, for all her terrific work, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Of course, of course.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to say anything? We're at the end of our hour here, and just been a wonderful meeting and positive. And I want to say, well, we're going to support the delegates, and we're going to be there to help you on your many long days and possibly halfway sleepless nights with all the stuff that you're going to be doing the next 2 months. You pay you big dollars for all that good work, right? But you're the bottom and the foundation of our democracy, and we appreciate being able to participate.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anything else, Ainsley? You want to wrap up with anything?
Nope. Happy New Year, everyone, and I hope everybody is refreshed and ready to get to work.
Okay, good things to happen really soon. Welcome all new people and old vets, and forward we go. We're going to continue on our task. Oh, I just see Zakili. I just heard a lot of good stuff about you. So from
I've been here.
But Stefan Laboyo, and so I'll be talking with you maybe some more. So thank you all, and we'll be seeing you soon and working with you soon. Bye now.
Thanks,
Take care.
Steve. Lee, always great. Thank you.
Yep.